Glad to see you again with us today. We are back to play more Start Your Art games, play with art. I really do feel like the best way to learn about art is to just freely play. These are from the Start Your Art card deck. I'll put the link below in the description if you want to pick up your own set. But each card is a different exercise where you take 15 minutes and just play. Just make bad art. You can throw it away at the end. I think when you have no expectations of making something good or pretty or perfect, that you're free and that you learn more when you explore and play freely. So today we are going to learn about shape, and we are going to do the Get a Move On card. Create bad art collage using shapes to create the most visual movement that you can. Now do the opposite, using shapes to create a visual feeling of stability or stillness. So shape is one of the elements of art. You have line and shape and color and value and texture and form. And these are the things that all art is made up out of. You can't break them down any smaller. A shape is a shape is a shape. Although I guess it's made up with a line. It could have an, anyway. So we're going to play with shape. What does shape do in a work of art? One of the things it does is to give you a sense of motion or of stillness according to where the shapes are placed in the frame, the size, just all the arrangement of how the shapes are. You can get a feeling of movement or of stability and stillness. So today we're going to play with that. I want you to get a 5x7-ish, or really you can do this whatever way you want, but 5x7 is a really quick, easy way to play with this. A piece of paper or a postcard or an index card, or since I'm a textile artist, I'll use a piece of muslin, or in what I'm going to use today is a stabilizer. It's kind of stiff and you can sew through it because I'm a textile artist. I love to sew things. So get that, get a glue stick, get scissors, get a couple pieces of colored construction paper, tear a couple of pictures out of a magazine, anything, fabric scraps, doesn't matter. But let's play with shape and movement. So here we are. Here's the kind of stabilizer that I like to use. It's a Peltex. It's got fusible web on one side so that I can glue stuff on this side. Sew it if I want. I can fuse a piece of white fabric on the backside and sew the edges, and then I can actually send it like a real postcard through the mail, which is kind of fun. I can also throw it away at the end if I want to, because this is Make Bad Art Day, right? It doesn't matter. So I usually keep a stack of these ready to go, and I'll have fabric as my base to glue on. You can start with plain white if you want, or you can glue a color on it. And I have scraps of fabric here because I can't throw any scraps away if they have fusible web on the back, which is like a glue. It's a heat-activated glue, but you can just use a plain old glue stick and you'll be fine. So, which one do I want to choose? I think maybe, let's choose orange as a background, just for fun. Now shape. I've got shapes here in my tray already that I can play with. Different kinds of shapes that are already cut out. What if some are rounded? I wonder if I have any circles already cut out anywhere in here. So you can maybe choose 3 or 4 different kinds of shapes. Sometimes I'll just take shapes and whatever round thing I have available, and should have had a pencil out to start with. And because I'm kind of obsessed with circles, I can trace a circle and then cut it out. You can also just free cut, because remember, this isn't a masterpiece. This is Making Bad Art Day, with nobody to tell you it's bad art. Nobody else has to see the thing at all. This is just us playing together. I kind of like that triangle too. So, do you remember last time, if you look down the YouTube channel, there's a recording of the hero and the villain, and that's playing with complementary colors. Purple and orange are not quite complementary colors, blue and orange are, but they're far enough apart that it's really going to pop out. So I've got shapes. Some are big, some are round, some are triangular, some are not. I'm going to cut a few triangles just for fun. See what I can play with. And let's play with shapes. So if I take a shape that's kind of rectangular, maybe this shape to start with, and I put it at the base of the frame, what kind of movement does that feel like? Does it feel like it has motion? No, not really. Really, when you think about it, any classical revival government building is usually a big squat rectangle with sometimes a heavy portico or a half dome on top of it, right? That gives it a lot of weight. And sometimes it might have big, let's make our portico bigger, big columns holding it up. And all of those things have a kind of visual weight that hold them down at the bottom of the frame and that make you think of stability and strength and stillness. None of these shapes feel like there's motion going on. But what if I use the same shape? What if I put the shape up here kind of hanging? And I had other shapes down here, or skinnier shapes down here. And what if I put it like that? Just the simple tip of the same shape gives it a feeling like it's going to move, right? Because in real life, our world has gravity and heavy things come down. And something like this might feel like there's nothing supporting it, so it'll come down. I could put this down at the bottom to give it even more weight. Now, what about triangles? If I put a triangle here at the base of the frame, it looks like a pyramid, right? Super stable. You know, it's on that flat bottom. But if I put it like this, it feels like it's going to tip, especially even sharper angles might feel like it's tipping even more. What if I put it on the very corner of something? Oh, it's going to fall off. So it feels like it has impending movement. Also, the movement we talk about is the movement of our eyes as they go around the frame of what we're looking at. So how can we make shapes move the eye? What if I have a piece like this and something like this, and this edge goes like this, and maybe a line going here? Then we have this kind of line shape of negative space in the middle that moves the eye around. Is it different if the line is disconnected? Then your eye has to jump from one side to the next, from one shape to the next. What if shapes are just randomly placed? Then your eye also has to jump from one shape to the next. And the eye has a different kind of movement than if all these shapes were connected in some way. Put that one there and that one there. Then your eye just sees them all as one grouping, and it just stays there. It doesn't move around anywhere. These shapes feel like they have a little bit of impending movement. Like, here's another fun thing, circles. Circles feel like they're organic shapes that should have movement to them, but if you just have a big circle, especially if it's a circle and a circle and a circle of some sort, let's pretend that was a big shape, or see if we can fit it in there. If you have a circle inside of a circle inside of a circle, your eye is drawn into the center like a bullseye, and there's nothing really to bring it out. If you have something that breaks that circle, then you've got something to take your eye back out. And also, this is a pointy shape. Let's talk about that for a second. Any pointy shape becomes an arrow and leads your eye in the direction of the point. Just because, you know, if I point my finger, it's an arrow, you're going to look where it goes. So let's build something that's really stable and still. I think I like this big open space at the bottom. It might be kind of fun to add a little bit of patterning and texture in there. Get it to be just the right size, sort of. Let's build something stable on it. Maybe a different size. If they're overlapped a little bit, that's interesting. And we can put things out on the side just to add a little bit of interest. Look how different it looks when it's here as opposed to if it's up here, as opposed to when it's down here. So the same shape can have stability and stillness, but it can also have movement. What if this shape is placed here? So that has a whole different feel to it than if it's grounded to either the side or the bottom of the frame. It's kind of fun to play with. All right, can I even put a circle in? I can put a circle in up there, and it feels a little bit like it's floating, but we're used to seeing things like the moon and the sun floating up in the sky, and so that doesn't feel unstable to us. Maybe something with diagonal lines might feel like it has more movement, but this, especially with negative space and this kind of shape bounding it, feels kind of stable, and it kind of balances this grouping of shapes. So to me, this grouping of shapes feels really still. It feels really stable. It feels like it's not going anywhere at all. How do we change it up? I wonder if I can use these exact same shapes and create a lot of movement in the piece. I feel like there's more movement. I want to try to move the eye side to side. So if I'm going to move side to side, maybe I don't ground this shape, or maybe I have it coming off the edge, and maybe this would also be coming off the edge. What would happen? Well, I said I was going to use the same shapes, didn't I? Now, doesn't that have a different sense of movement? We've got all these diagonal lines and the point is pointing down, and then it kind of stops here, and the shape cups the eye and the movement, stops it here for a bit, and then moves it back up. I wonder what would happen if we changed some of the bits and had it. This is really dark, isn't it? Feels almost black. It's a navy blue in real life. And what if this is out and about? So that has a kind of shape, a kind of movement between the shapes. So diagonal shapes will always have a lot more flowing movement. What if we have completely organic shapes? Let's try cutting something out that doesn't have any straight edges. Going to just cut out a random blob out of this. And then what if I take one of my other bits, I can even take the edge of this and have some organic lines that move in different directions. It's a long, skinny shape that kind of becomes a line. Interesting then how the eye kind of lands here. This can draw the eye in, hold it there for a minute, and then because these two colors and textures, patterns are kind of the same, the eye might jump over here, and then it follows this curve down to here. And that might be enough. Or maybe I can play some more and get some more interesting shapes going on. Now, do I want to cup it and bring the eye back up there? Or do I want to bring it over here? Or do I want to speed up the motion down to this? Oh, that gives it like a lot of waving movement. What if I accentuate that? That might be kind of fun. This is, you can play until these scraps get outrageously small and you can't even hold them anymore. But it's fun to mess around with them. And what if they're all coming off of here? Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Maybe I would move it over to balance it a little bit better. So here's another interesting thing, a principle about art. Shape is the element, and the way you put the elements together are the principles, the way they come together to create a composition. So one of the principles is space. The area around this, also the area that the actual thing takes up, can be form and space. And the way you move through art, like architecture, is also space. But here, we've got the eye landing here, moving up, and you've got all this empty negative space around it, kind of like a background, so that the eye has room to come back. Now, if I put some of the bits going up towards the frame, what happens now? I've still got empty space, but look how the eye either comes here and lands, but then goes out. And if I've got things pointing my eye off the edge of the frame, it's pretty likely that my eye is going to leave the frame. Still got lots of space here, though. So, interesting things, playing with movement and playing with stability. Just play around with shapes. I encourage you to have fun, to mess around. You can go to my website, which will be in the description down below, and my email is there, and you can send me a picture of what you've played with. I need to get them all together and post them on my blog to show how much fun this is. So go play. I encourage you to have fun, make bad art. Don't be afraid. Learn as you go. I'll see you again next time. Hello, my name is Lyric Montgomery Kinard. I'm an artist and educator, and I want most to help you find confidence in the creativity I know you already possess. Whether that is by learning a new skill, a technique, or by learning the basic principles and elements of art, which anybody can learn, it's not that hard, or buying supplies for the art that you already make. You can find help with all of those things if you go to my website, lyrickinard.com. I'd also love it if you subscribe to my channel and gave it a like. Go find joy by seeing the world through the eyes of an artist.